Happy New Year, guys. This is not the voice of Denzel, if you really couldn't tell. Deezy is actually in Ghana. He's spending time with his family. He finally got reunited with his dad after about 7 whole years. So cut us some slack, dude, because he will be back soon. Whew, bars. Jeez. Anywho, in the meantime, it's your boy on my perspective on how to spot an INFJ or INTJ. A quick sidebar. Number one, I'm just here to give you a visual of how people often describe NIDOMs, INFJs in particular, as these mystical, magical, spiritual beings that are ever so mysterious and abstract, so constantly misunderstood by society, which is honestly more suited for FIDOMs, so it's a little satirical. Don't think about it too much. I'm lying. I want you to think about it a lot because maybe you disagree. Anyway, back to business. Both INTJs and INFJs have introverted intuition as their dominant function. And I'm going to quickly try to explain some indicators you can use to identify them in the wild. Sidebar number 2, please keep in mind that this is just my perspective, right? And I cannot fully speak on behalf of a wide variety of people. And secondly, it takes time to truly discover if someone is truly an IDOM, because there are a lot of confused people out here, and honestly, some of them are intentionally faking, even though they kind of know they're really not. So don't rush your, investigation. Alright, so boom. First on the list, we have constantly diagnosing problems and situations through continuous observation and making connections from what we've analyzed. The key word here is analyzed. We're always watching something, we're always making mental notes, we're always making connections about whatever we've been observing, and we can go into deep thought about that as well. So that's number one. Another indicator is frequently having sudden epiphanies for creative solutions to tricky problems, right? And having a backup plan just in case. We usually have one confident plan instead of various options like an NEDOM might have. Or usually NEDOMs, I've noticed that they have 2 or more plans of action just so they have options, whereas NIDOMs may have only 1 or 2. So we'll be observing, right? That's the first indicator. It will be analyzing, and then from that we'll have a sudden aha moment, and then we'll be able to proceed forward with whatever we have planned, as opposed to other types where they may be more experimental. And I think the key part here is that an NIDOM may step back and observe, while an NEDOM or maybe even an SEDOM may step forward and tinker or experiment, so that they can get their epiphanies and their solutions from the matter, right? Another indicator is overthinking. What we consider to be thinking, other people usually consider to be overthinking, and we're just like, what? Because sometimes other types may just find it easier to just relax and not think about anything and just really calm down. Whereas to think for an NIDOM is to breathe. We're always thinking, and to not think and analyze is almost foreign, and sometimes even feels like utter nonsense, if I'm being honest. Overthinking here can be compared to peeling back the layers of an onion to get to the core or the source of a matter, sort of like an investigator. So one of the main things we do is actually one of the next indicators. How do we do this? By simply asking why. This is almost second nature and applies to almost everything that I encounter personally. Whereas an NE user may tackle perspectives with what if questions, right? An FIDOM may ask questions more akin to, who are you? Identity-based questions. SIDOMs may be attracted to more what happened here questions. SEDOMs may be attracted to more what are we doing or what are we going to do. Likewise, NI users may ask Why? Just so we can uncover the layers and see what's going on behind the curtain, you know? Others may find it a bit annoying, but I personally find a ton of breakthrough with asking these types of questions, just really going deeper and deeper. It's all about the depth with NI-DOMs that I've noticed as well. Another one is seeing the end result of a sequence of particular actions is almost obvious or like appealing to us, right? This is where INFJs or INTJs may get labeled as mysterious or wise, even though those traits can be applied to, I don't know, every type and are not always indicative of an NI. We usually get that rap simply because people don't understand how we come to certain conclusions. You're just like, how did you get there? Anyway, this is often indicative of someone who is stuck in as someone who's always stuck in an NITI loop, I have been getting better at breaking down my diagnoses and abstract connections. And honestly, people get so mystified by NI that they forget we're just guessing through some very strong hunches. We just happen to be right a lot of the times. We do feel confident enough to express them. We don't have these glimpses of omniscience. We just follow conclusions based on our conscious or subconscious observations, and sometimes even spiritual inclinations, that based on the info we're given, we're like, hey, this sequence of events makes sense, and that's what I think is going to happen. Call it a prediction, call it a prophecy, whatever you want. I'm just saying, hey, this is what I think is going to happen, right? I think this is one of the key observations or like indicators, because we love determining likelihoods. It's not just about different possibilities, as may be the case for NI-DOMs. We like determining what is the most likely conclusion. We like that consequential thinking. Sometimes it can be compared to a game of chess, right? Because every move you make has a consequence. Everything you do leads to something else, and there's ultimately going to be one conclusion. Or I would even relate it to foreshadowing, right? Like in a good book or in a movie, you can always find subtle hints of things happening right now, or things that have happened, and you can kind of put two and two together and be like, okay, I think this is going to happen. You're not 100% sure, but oftentimes, if you're really invested, you'll always be like, okay, I think this is going to happen, right? If you're fully invested. And I think that's foreshadowing. Like, I think that's what NI-DOMs tend to do, in that we always try, or sometimes don't try, to put two and two together based on our experiences in the real world, and then kind of like figure it out in our own heads. Another honorable mention would be metaphors. Now I say this is an honorable mention because FI-DOMs are also really good at metaphors, and NI-DOMs will blow your mind sometimes with their connections. So I wouldn't say this is a defining characteristic of NI, but due to our proclaimed abstract nature, it is something to consider. So yeah, tell me what you think. I hope you really like this video, because I tried to turn up my FE a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And if there's anything I missed, let me know. If there's anything you disagree with, this is YouTube. Speak your mind. Just go ahead in them comments, and also feel free to add me on Instagram and Twitter at individual INDAVIDUALL, and Facebook as well. And while you're on Facebook, drop by SPA Sigma and catch Denzel and Heidi Preve talking about a whole bunch more about cognitive functions and MBTI in general. Have a good day, y'all. Be good, all right? Have a nice year, and bada bing, bada boom. Done.